Heno Nittai Binibai Radha Krishna Paitena Dida Kori Daro Nittai Bai Dida Kori Daro Nittai Bai Se Sambandhana Hiya Vita Janma Kelotha Se Sambandhana Hiya Vita Janma Kelotha Se Pashu Oloro Duracha Nitana Bodhilo Muke Majido Samsara Sukhe Nitaya Bodhilo Muke Majido Samsara Sukhe Vidya Kule Kiko Hibe Ta Vidya Kule Ahankare Mata Hoya Nitai Pada Pasaya Ahankare Mataya Nitai Pada Pasaya Asatyere Satya Koimani Asatyere Satya Koi Nitaya Karuna Hame Prajivada Krishna Pame Karuna Hame Prajivada Krishna Charanita Charana Dukkani Dharanithai Charana Dukkani Nitaya Charana Satya Tara Sevaka Nitya Nitaya Charana Nitai Pada Sada Koro Asha Nitaya Narottama Oroduki Nitai More Korosuki Narottama Boroduki Nitai More Rakoranga Nitai pada kamala Koti chandra susitala Ye chaya jagata juraya Nitai pada kamala Koti chandra susitala Ye chaya jagata juraya Ye chaya jagata juraya Ye chaya jagata juraya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Oi. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Jaya Nityananda Ram Nityananda Ram Nityananda Ram Nityananda Ram Jaya Nityananda Ram Nityananda Ram Nityananda Ram Jaya Nityananda Ram Jaya Nityananda Ram Nityananda Ram Nityananda Ram Jaya Nityananda Ram Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya Ashtataya Satashishimacha I.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Guru Vaishnavinda ki. Namacharya Srila Haridasa Thakur ki. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki. Shri Mayapur Dham ki. Jagannath Puri Dham ki. Gangamaya ki. Jamuna Maya ki. Tulsi Deva ki. Bhakti Deva ki. Samaveta Bhaktivedanta ki. Lord Chaitanya's Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Priyat Madanga ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Shri Nityananda Trayodashi ki. Lord Nityananda's appearance day ki. All glories to the assembled of us. All glories to Shri Guru and Grand All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Maha Vishnu Badaya Krishna Vastavakle. Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamani Namaste. Saraswati Devi Gauravani Bacharine Nivasesha Shunyavadi. Pastachade Shatarini. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito Gaudade Pushpavanto Chito Shamotamo Nudo Panchatatvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Shrupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakam Namami Bhakta Shaktakam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today is Nityananda Trayodashi. We read the translation of this song, which I was going to sing it this evening. It's just too many things to do this evening in a short space of time. There are so many songs about Lord Nityananda compiled by our acharyas, Sri Lochan Das Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, have compiled so many songs about Lord Nityananda, and not surprisingly so. And this is one of them, which is in this general songbook which we have in ISKCON, from Partana by Narottam Das Thakur. The lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. It's called Faith in Lord Nityananda. Secret of success in spiritual life is faith in Lord Nityananda. There are a lot of secrets, by the way, in spiritual life. This is one of them. The lotus feet of Lord Nityananda are a shelter where one will get the soothing moonlight, not only of one, but of millions of moons. Millions of moons. Koti Chandra Shushitala, millions of moons. If the world wants to have real peace, it should take shelter of Lord Nityananda. Unless one takes shelter under the shade of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, it will be very difficult for him to approach Radha and Krishna. If one actually wants to enter into the dancing party of Radha and Krishna, he must firmly catch hold of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. Anyone who has not established his relationship with Nityananda Prabhu is understood to have spoiled his valuable human life. Such a human being is actually an uncontrollable animal. Because he never uttered the holy name of Nityananda, he has become merged into so-called material happiness. What can his useless education and family tradition do to help him? Being maddened after false prestige and identification with the body, one is thinking, oh, what is Nityananda? What can he do for me? I don't care. The result is that he is accepting something false to be truth. If you actually want to approach the association of Radha and Krishna, you must first achieve the mercy of Lord Nityananda. When he is merciful toward you, then you will be able to approach Radha and Krishna. Therefore you should firmly grasp the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. The lotus feet of Nityananda are not illusion, they are a fact. One who engages in the transcendental loving service of Nityananda is also transcendental. Always try to catch the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. This Narottam Das is very unhappy. Therefore I am praying to Lord Nityananda to make me happy. My dear Lord, please keep me close to your lotus feet. And there's a nice prayer put by Srila Prabhupada, but I'm not going to read it because it's very long. We have very little time this morning to cover the subject matters. Jai Shri Nityananda Ram Ki Jai. (8:30) daily greeting, correct? So we're going to read some verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita's invocation verses to the glories of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. The 5th chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila is dedicated to the glorification of Lord Nityananda. So we're going to read the thread verses of that chapter on which the chapter is developed. We're going to briefly mention some of the developments. It's very deep philosophy, and even to try to read it itself would be quite, let's say, take a long time, and it would be quite, let's say, take a lot of effort to really enter in there and grasp the subject matter in its completeness, or at least as it's explained. So we're going to read from text number 7 of the 1st chapter of the Adilila, a few verses, and then discuss a little bit. And then we're going to move on to one specific aspect of Lord Nityananda's appearance in this world. Sankarshana karana toya shayi karabodha shayi cha payobdi shayi sheshascha yasyang sakalasa nitya Nandakya Rama Sharanam Mamastu. May Sri Nityananda Ram be the object of my constant remembrance. Sankarshan, Sheshanaga, and the Vishnus, who lie on the Karana ocean, Garbha ocean, and ocean of milk, are his plenary portions, and the portions of his plenary portion. Maya tite vyapi vaikuntaloke purnaishvarye shri chatur vyuha madhye rupang yashod bhati sankarshanakyang tang shri nityananda ramam prapadye. I surrender unto Lord lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Ram, who is known as Sankarshan, in the midst of the Chatur Vyuha, consisting of Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. He possesses full opulences and resides in Vaikuntha Loka, far beyond the material creation. Maya bharta jhanda sangashrayagya yanga shete sakshat karanam bodhi madhye Yashaikang shashi puman adi devas tang shri nityananda ramam papadye. I offer my full obeisances unto the feet of Sri Nityananda Ram, whose partial representation, called Karanadakshayi Vishnu, lying on the Karana ocean, is the original Purusha, the master of the illusory energy and the shelter of all the universes. Yasyang shangsha shila garbodashayi yanabhyabjang loka sangatanalam loka shashtu sutika damadatus tang shri nityanandam ramam papadye. I offer my full obeisances unto the feet of Sri Nityananda Ram, a partial part of whom is Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. From the navel of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu sprouts the lotus that is the birthplace of Brahma, the engineer of the universe. The stem of that lotus is the resting place of the multitude of planets. Yasyang shang shang sha Paratma Kilanam Poshta Vishnu Bhati Dugdad Vishayi Kshoni Vartayat Kalasopyanantas Tang Shri Nityananda Ramang Prapadye. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the feet of Sri Nityananda Ram, whose secondary part is the Vishnu lying in the ocean of milk. That Kshirodakshai Vishnu is the supersoul of all living entities and the maintainer of all the universes. Sheshanaga is his further subpart. And in chapter 5 itself, there's a nice summary in the beginning of some of the expansion of these particular verses. But again, we don't have time to read it. Vande Nanta Bhuttaishvaryam Sri Nityananda Ishwaram Yasye Chaya Tatsarupam Agyenapi Nirupyate. Let me offer my obeisances to Lord Sri Nityananda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose opulence is wonderful and unlimited. By his will, even a fool can understand his identity. So this chapter 5 of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, as I said, is quite esoteric, it's quite philosophical, and for most of us it's quite not so, we have to study it very, very carefully. It's not so easy to follow. But it describes the various Purusha avatars and the various expansions coming originally from Krishna, Balaram, and it qualifies the fact that Lord Nityananda is none other than Lord Balaram. The expansion of all the various avatars of various kinds, even in the Chaturvyuha, the Sankarshan form of the Chaturvyuha, and the consequent further expansions of Sankarshan, and then all the various facilities, foundations, whatever you call it, arrangements in the spiritual world, the basis, the backgrounds, to facilitate the pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna and his direct consorts, etc. To facilitate all those, he also personally expands within all of those particular pastimes in various forms, in all the various leelas. He expands to participate, and specifically Lord Balaram is known as the Adi Guru. Lord Nityananda is the Adi Guru. He's not only he's non-different than Krishna, but color is different, and perhaps in some senses his role is different. He's manifesting the aspect of the Lord, of service to the Lord also. And he takes part in all the various forms. When the Lord expands himself, he also expands to be Lakshman in Ram Leela, and so on and so forth. And Nityananda in Chaitanya Leela, Balaram, of course, in Krishna Leela. He expands in so many ways to also provide the Ananta Shesh, they're both expansions of Lord Nityananda, both Mahavishnu and Ananta Shesh are expansions of Lord Nityananda, and also the various paraphernalia for the various Lord's pleasure pastimes, much coming from Lord Nityananda's expansions. In other words, he's basically the reservoir of facilitating the Lord's pastimes and his various purposes. And it's very esoteric, extension of those various points. Even the Jiva Tatashta Shakti, the Shiva Tattva, etc. are expanding directly or indirectly from Lord Nityananda. There's a plenary expansions or parts of a plenary expansion, and the whole material universe is basically expanding from the energy or the power of Lord Nityananda. So he's quite he's not just a jolly fellow, an avaduta who appears in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, and the reservoir of mercy. He's, as we heard in this particular song, without the mercy of Lord Nityananda, nobody can approach Radha and Krishna. He's the Adi Guru, and he appears in all the various Leelas, even in Madhurya Leela, in Vatsalya Leela. He's appearing in all the various Leelas to, or at least he manifests those particular moods of the various Leelas to show the, as a Guru, to direct how we can perfect our devotion in those particular Leelas also. As a Nanga Manjari, Balaram himself, he's also in a mood of fatherly mood towards the Lord in many cases, being the elder brother, not always the elder brother. In the case of Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the elder brother. In the case of Lord Ram, he's slightly the younger brother. And he's in a kind of inferior position. But in every case, his only mood is to serve and to bring pleasure to Lord, to his worshipable Lord in oneself. Although he is the Lord himself, he's in that mood of service in various ways. So we're going to move on because time and tide wait for no man, so to speak. And we're going to now just delve mainly in one aspect. It's a beautiful aspect of Lord Nityananda's relationship with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I just, yeah, okay, it's there still. And this is from Chaitanya Bhagavat. A bit too difficult. You don't have straight tables here. Huh? It's kind of like. Pardon? Well, you said it was going to collapse, is it? It could collapse. Okay. Well, I guess everything could collapse, but it's resting on Lord Nityananda, so we're depending on Lord Nityananda to make sure it doesn't collapse. He's the resting place, the reservoir, of all the living entities as well. We come out from him. So we have to take shelter of him in order to regain our normal condition. So this is from a section from the Chaitanya Bhagavat. There's lots of nectar in the Chaitanya Bhagavat about Lord Nityananda, and in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but particularly in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. And in other books there's also much nectar about Lord Nityananda. Of course, there's some books which are solely and wholly about his, say the, what's it called? Bhakti Ratnakar deals a lot with Lord Nityananda in Vrindavan also, and Navadvip, what's it called? I can't remember. His taking a tour, giving tour of Navadvip to Jiva Goswami, whatever it is. There's all kinds of wonderful pastimes of Lord Nityananda in various literatures, but particularly in Chaitanya Bhagavat. So we're going to read this morning from Chaitanya Bhagavat. And this is from the Madhya Kanda. If you have it on your mobile, you can maybe follow chapter 3. And we're going to read from text 1, 2, 4 on. Now, tonight we'll be discussing more the kind of, pastimes and, little history and so on. But this is just a little part of it. But just in a nutshell, after Lord Nityananda left home, he was taken away by a mysterious sannyasi. And there are, people weren't sitting around with tape recorders in those days or even writing on the spot what was going on. So a lot of it is, what's heard and passed down from various sources. But generally it's understood that Nityananda spent 20 years after he was taken away from Ekachakra Gram by that mysterious sannyasi, and he traveled widely, just like Lord Balaram traveled widely at a certain point in time, particularly when the Battle of Kurukshetra was about to take place. So he also traveled widely, but for a long time, 20 years he was away during that period, because there's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, we're not going to tell them because tonight we'll be discussing that. And he, it said that he accepted initiation, Some accounts, some acharyas say from Lakshmipati Tirtha, some say from Madhavendra Puri. But either way, he accepted initiation during that period, even though he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And everyone, those who were giving him initiation are his own expansions, basically. And then eventually he came to Vrindavan, where he resided for a fair amount of time, reenacting his pastimes from Krishna Lila, when he was Balaram. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as you may well know, did not manifest his, his Sankirtan movement and his mood as being, a maddened devotee of Lord Krishna, so to speak, of himself, until he was around about 20 years of age. For the first 20 years, he was more or less enwrapped in his pastimes of childhood, school, his scholarly pastimes. Another pastime of the Lord. He was enjoying that also. But then the time came, and when he accepted initiation from Ishvara Puri, the time came then to manifest his, one of the main purposes for his appearing in the world. When the Lord appears in this world, he comes accompanied by his associates. And many of those associates appear before him, like Advaita Acharya, Haridas Thakur, Nityananda Prabhu, Srivas Thakur. Many of his associates appear before to prepare the way, and especially Nityananda, of course, being one of his expansions, being an Ananta Shesh. His business is like in Krishna Lila. He appeared in the womb of Devaki to clear the way after the appearance of the other 6 children, Garbha Asurs, whatever they're called, who appeared in his womb previously, and then he appeared as Balaram in the womb of Devaki to clear the way, to prepare the way. So these other great associates, they appear to prepare the way for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance in this world. And Balaram appeared as Lord Nityananda, so also preparing the way. So part of that was his traveling around and staying in Vrindavan and so on and so forth. And then when Lord Chaitanya manifested his Sankirtan pastimes, Lord Nityananda decided it's time to return to, or to go back to Bengal, and specifically to join Lord Chaitanya. First 20 years, Lord Nityananda was not in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes in Navadvip. He only joined the pastimes, although they're never separated. It wasn't manifested as a unique aspect of this pastime, unseen in the other ones, like in Krishna Lila or Ram Lila. They were inseparable, right from the word go. But unmanifested, Lord Balaram, in the form of Nityananda, may have been unmanifested in Navadvip, in Lord Chaitanya's childhood pastimes. So then, after 20 years of travel, he was 12 years older, and he left home. It's interesting, he left home just at the time of Lord Chaitanya's birth and went traveling. And on his travels, we've already heard, and then he came back to Navadvip. So what we're going to hear now is the union, the reunion, or whatever it is, the manifest union between Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda. It's a very sweet pastime from Chaitanya Bhagavat, which will occupy the rest of our time. So this is, I'm not going to read the Bengali, can't read it anyway, but it sounds really sweet, but we don't have time, so I'm not going to read it. So he went. Nobody knew him in Navadvip other than Lord Chaitanya, of course. And even if they did, he was in hiding, basically speaking. He was incognito. He went to the house of Nandana Acharya, one great devotee of the Lord. Nandana Acharya was a Mahabhagavat. He saw that the bodily effulgence of Nityananda was equal to the sun. I'm going to read some of the descriptions of the glories of Lord Nityananda. Let's move on a little bit here. Get my cursor in the right place. Yep. The most advanced devotee sees within everything the soul of all souls, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, he sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord and understands that everything that exists is eternally situated within the Lord. Being the foremost of such liberated souls, the Mahabhagavat, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, is the origin of all pure devotees of the Lord. He is most effulgent and is the basis of spiritual illumination. The reflection of his bodily effulgence revives the constitutional position of the living entities. It's by his effulgence, like the light, lightens everything up so we can see. That's why he's the original guru, one who opens their eyes which are darkened with the darkness of ignorance, by his effulgence. His effulgence manifests in various ways, but basically it's his effulgence. He's the original guru. He's Balaram, who in every lila, who can tell us the essence of, Krishna and how to please Krishna. The guru's business, teaching us how to please Krishna. The reflection of his bodily effulgence revives the constitutional position of the living entities. Those who are under his shelter can also have similar effulgence. We take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Usually you go under someone's lotus feet and you think it's very dark under there. But in this particular case, if we take shelter of those lotus feet, it is the source of all transcendental effulgence. Everything will become enlightened. All darkness will be removed. Just like when the residents went under Govardhan Hill, it was completely the spiritual world under there. It wasn't like a dark, dirty, scary place. It was a transcendentally ecstatic arena, all arranged by Lord Balaram. In the material conception of life, there is an absence of spiritual effulgence. Until one achieves spiritual realization, he cannot be freed from the contamination of forgetting his real identity. When the spiritual effulgence that emanates from Nityananda and destroys the darkness of ignorance enters the heart of a person, it vanquishes the darkness of ignorance. So the effulgence also manifests through his devotees, his pure devotees particularly, and they shine also, enlightening the whole world, waking us all up by their effulgence, which also manifests in various, you could say, in dimensional forms, in the form of words, in the form of service, in the form of many things. Next verse. Nityananda appeared as a great Avaduta with a large body. He was always grave and most sober. So he wasn't, sometimes people, mainly the Prakriti Sahajas, depict him as a sannyasi who gave up his sannyas, but he never took sannyas. He never took sannyas. He was always in the mood of, this is like a brahmachari when he was traveling, and then sometimes he's seen in the mood of an avaduta. And it's described, I think, in the back of the car or somewhere, how he broke his danda and he, threw away his kamandalu and this and that. And so some consider that means he was a sannyasi, but no, it is not. Brahmacharis traditionally also used to carry these items, small ones, very small ones. So he cast all that away and became a madman of love of God. Only those who have attained perfection in the sannyas order of life and have naturally become indifferent to external renunciation are known as avadutas. Many people are bewildered on seeing the avaduta's disdain for external signs. When a strict sannyasi attains perfection in the sannyas order, he becomes renowned as a learned sannyasi or avaduta. Sri Nityananda Prabhu is the topmost of such avadutas. His gravity and extreme patience were observed by Nandanacharya. Is not to be imitated. Sometimes people artificially imitate the mood of an avaduta. It's not that they're crazy. They may appear crazy, but they're absolutely totally absorbed in love of Godhead and have no interest in external things or what people think, social etiquettes, etc. They may follow, they may not follow, but they're totally aloof from all of that. In the sannyas order, there are many etiquettes to follow. That's why Lord Chaitanya was very strict in following all kinds of etiquettes. But Lord Nityananda, time is so short tonight also, we may hear one or two of his eccentric and unpredictable behaviors. And next one. He chanted the names, Nityananda, the names of Krishna day and night. He was the abode of Lord Chaitanya, incomparable within the three worlds. So that Nityananda was engaged always in chanting the names of Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has pervaded the three worlds on the support of Nityananda. He's the support of all the pastimes. He forms the support, Nantashesha being the personified support of the universes, basically. Ananta. And in the spiritual world, in the Dham, he's the support of the Dham and all the paraphernalia in the holy Dhams. This is Lord Nityananda, which means that which pleases Krishna, at least on the male side, you could say. On the female side, of course, the expansions are from Radharani. But on the masculine side, they're from Lord Balaram or Lord Nityananda Ram. He is like the blazing sun in dissipating the darkness of the conditioned soul's ignorance of identifying themselves as enjoyers. And this is one of his practical manifestations to demonstrate that the jiva is not the enjoyer. Krishna is the enjoyer. Everything is meant for Krishna's enjoyment. We're the enjoyed. We may not like it, but that's how it stands. Sri Nityananda alone is most expert in enacting the pastimes of rendering 10 forms of service to Chaitanya Dev. It's interesting, yesterday I was talking to some devotees, one amongst them Satyanandam Prabhu, who was telling me how nice it was when he first joined, because he said, when I first joined, I just did exactly what I was told to do. Whatever the other devotees senior devotees told me, do this, do that, do this, do that. He said, I would just do whatever they said. And it was so nice, he said. But sometimes when we grow up, we start challenging and want to do what I want to do, not what the leaders want to do. And he said, we get so many problems, and it's no longer so nice. And it's based on that factor of following this mood of Lord Nityananda, who just does what Lord Chaitanya wants him to. Whatever pleases Lord Chaitanya. That's the personification that is in the form of Nityananda Prabhu. He's the chief, let's say, the limb through which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enacts his pastimes, whether they're internal or external. And also, he is the main trunk of the tree, the Chaitanya tree, the main trunk. He's like we read. Sri Nityananda alone is most expert in enacting the pastimes of rendering 10 forms of service to Sri Chaitanya Dev. Be interested to know what those 10 forms are. I'm not sure what they are. Anyone know? 10 forms of service. Huh? Is it Shravanam Kirtan? That's not 10, is it? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmani, Vedam. It's 9, isn't it? Yeah. Another 10, I wonder what that is. No other object may be compared with him. Sri Nityananda is the backbone in manifesting the Supreme Lord among the living entities. Next verse. Sometimes he roared loudly in his own ecstasy. He appeared greatly intoxicated, just like the incarnation of Balaram. Purport. Nityananda Prabhu sometimes roared loudly out of ecstasy in order to manifest his pastimes and identity in this world. He was fully intoxicated to constantly assist Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes of distributing love of God, just as Sri Baladev fully engaged in the service of Sri Krishna in Vraj. In Gaudadesh also, where Lord Chaitanya enjoyed his pastimes, the intoxicated mood and emotional ecstasy of Nityananda captured people's hearts through the help of their ears to vanquish the contamination from their hearts. No one should misunderstand the meaning of the word Nijananda by thinking that Nityananda Prabhu is an insignificant conditioned soul like us. The word Nija here indicates realization of the Supreme Lord. According to material consideration, the Ananda of the conditioned soul is always obstructed, and there is a gulf of difference between real Ananda and their Ananda, and the so-called bliss. Even Prabhupada said that one time when there was a Prabhupada, so blissful. I feel so blissful. Prabhupada said, you have no idea of what bliss is. Even in our interim stages, we may feel a little happiness or relief, but it's nothing compared with the bliss which Nityananda is manifesting or awakening. Since Nityananda Prabhu is himself the origin of the Vishnu Tattvas, if one attributes on him the material consideration of differentiation between body and self, then one will certainly be baffled in his attempts to realize the true meaning of the word Nityananda. His body is completely spiritual. We'll hear about that maybe tonight again, if time allows. Next verse. His attractive face defeated the beauty of millions of moons. His enchanting smile was the life and soul of the universe. Jagata Jivana. Life and soul. Koti Chandra. Same as the song we sang. Koti Chandra Jinia. Defeated the beauty of millions of moons. And he's the Jagata Jivana. The soul of the universe. Because he brings life to the universe. Otherwise it's dead. People are just in dead matter. Sleeping. He wakes us all up. He's the wake up. Brings us all to our senses. Next verse. The effulgence of his teeth defeated that of pearls, and his two broad reddish eyes increased the beauty of his face. His hands stretched down to his knees, and his chest was high. His two soft lotus feet were expert in movement. His two hands that's just the purple. Next verse. He spoke to everyone with great compassion. On hearing the words from his lotus mouth, one's bondage due to fruitive activities was destroyed. Whatever came from Lord Nityananda was all auspicious. Even if he chastised someone, kicked them in the chest, rejected them, hit them, whatever he did was always beneficial for the receivers. His mercy was all-pervasive. He spoke to everyone with great compassion. One who hears the words emanating from the lotus mouth of Nityananda Prabhu has no possibility of maintaining material conception. The conditioned souls proudly identify themselves as the doers and engage in material activity while considering themselves products of matter. By the way, if you don't know, these purports are by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. If the living entities hear the words of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, then their thirst for material enjoyment will be vanquished, and their constitutional propensities will awaken. He pleases everyone with his most compassionate words. Yes, it's Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, kind of interesting. He was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached to everyone, but he particularly preached to very scholarly and learned persons who were in kind of elevated positions. So Lord Nityananda took up the role particularly of preaching to the most fallen. Lord Chaitanya's moved Patita Pavana, but he specifically deputed Lord Nityananda to fulfill this aspect of his purpose, Patita Pavana, to deliver the most fallen. So Lord Nityananda, he particularly directed his attention to the most fallen. That's why it's so important for us. We're not even in the category of the most fallen who were delivered by Nityananda Prabhu. We're even more fallen, practically speaking, in many ways. So he's really our source of shelter. He's our only, realistically speaking, our only link, our only hope. Manifested, of course, through consequently through the disciplic session, through the gurus, who are nothing but empowered representatives of Lord Nityananda, kind of spiritual expansions in some ways of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, to carry on with that same mood of delivering the petite pavan, delivering the most fallen living entities. Next verse. When Lord Nityananda arrived in Nadia, there were shouts of joy all over the world. Who can describe the glories of that Lord who broke the sannyas danda of Gaurasundra? He is directly Lord Baladev. Therefore, the power of his glories cannot be compared with any other object. How can anyone's power be compared with the power of he who transgressed his exhibition of subordination to Gaurasundra by breaking his sannyas danda, accepted out of formality? He broke the formality. Lord Chaitanya, why are you following all these formalities? He knew who Lord Chaitanya is, and Lord Chaitanya externally was following formalities to show the behavior of a sannyasi and so on and so forth, following all the etiquettes. But there are no rules for Lord Chaitanya, but Balaram didn't. Lord Nityananda didn't like that, so for various reasons he broke the danda. On top of that, of course, he was thinking, why is my Lord carrying one of the demigods who are supposed to be worshipping his lotus feet? He's carrying a danda, and the danda is to be the manner. All the demigods are present within the danda; they're all resting there. And why is he carrying it? He broke it into bits. He broke into 3 pieces. Threw it away. Everyone is forced to follow the rules and regulations enjoined by Gaurasundra. When the Lord of the 14 worlds was personally following the rules and regulations to set example for people in general, Nityananda Prabhu, being intolerant, altered the Lord's exemplary pastimes of following the rules and regulations. And that's further explained in the Antyakand. The entire universe is purified by chanting the names of He who delivered the fallen, the foolish, and the merchants. Purport. When the eternal servants of Krishna situate themselves within the Varna principles of the world, they engage. We won't read that. We'll miss this one. There's lots of purports. We just missed this one. Next verse. Nandanacharya welcomed Nityananda Prabhu. He fed him and kept him in his house. Next verse. Anyone who hears about the arrival of Nityananda in Navadvip will certainly receive the wealth of love. Those who hear these topics and his auspicious arrival in Navadvip become conversant with his distribution of love of Godhead, or Krishna Prem. That's what it means. If we hear about this, then we can become conversant with his distribution of love of God. And also Krishna Prem. Lord Chaitanya appeared in this world for 2 purposes, along with his associates, specifically to experience Krishna Prema, but through the performance of Nam Sankirtan. Thus, accompanied by his associates, he delivered even the most fallen living entities, and he wove a wreath of the holy name and Krishna Prem, with which he garlanded the entire material world. So Lord Nityananda was his main instrument, or his main general, or weapon, whatever, in fulfilling this purpose, to garland the whole world with Krishna Prema. When Vishwambara understood that Nityananda had arrived, he became unlimitedly joyful at heart. On some pretext, the Lord had previously given the Vaishnavas some hint about Nityananda Prabhu's arrival, yet none of them had understood. Oh, brothers, within 2 or 3 days, some great personality will come here. By providence, after worshipping Vishnu that same day, Gaurchandra soon met with all the Vaishnavas. The Lord told everyone, "Today I have seen something wonderful in a dream. A chariot adorned by a flag marked with a palm tree, an expert in bestowing the essence of life on all people, arrived at my doorstep. Within the chariot I saw someone with a huge body. He held a post on his shoulder, and his movements were unsteady. He had a pole on his shoulder. That pole, he said, it was a plough and a club. He was maddened with restlessness." Next verse. In his left hand he carried a water pot wrapped with cane. He was dressed in blue garments, and his head was decorated with a blue cloth. His left ear was decorated with a charming earring. By his characteristics, I could understand that he was none other than Haladar, the name of Krishna, the one who wields the plough, carrier of the plough. He repeatedly inquired 10 or 20 times, "Is this the house of Nimai Pandit?" He was dressed like an Avaduta and appeared to be most powerful. I have never seen such a personality before. I was filled with respect on seeing him and asked, "Which great personality are you?" He smiled and said, "I am your brother. Tomorrow we will meet." I became most pleased by hearing his words, and I considered myself to be identical with him. While speaking in this way, the Lord lost his external consciousness and roared loudly in the mood of Haladar. The Lord repeatedly cried out, "Bring wine! Bring wine!" I hope you have some wine for the offering this evening. Have you got some wine? Can you get some wine for Lord Bala, Lord Nityananda tonight? They've become Mahaprasadam. You can enjoy it. They're tapping the conch. We're not even halfway through. What a shame. What to do? On that whiny note, we may have to finish unless they give us a few more minutes. I'll read one more. Srivas Pandit said, "Please hear me, O Goswami. The wine that you are demanding is available only with you. Only one whom you give it to can have it." The devotees were trembling as they looked on from a distance. Oh no, you'll have to wait till tonight to find out what happened next. All the Vaishnavas contemplated. There must be a reason for this. They couldn't understand what was going on, really. And you couldn't understand why. They'd never heard of Nityananda before. The reddish-eyed Lord recited poems and laughed as his body swayed back and forth like Sankarshan. After a while, the Lord returned to his normal state. Then the friend of Ram began to explain the meaning of the dream. So you'll have to wait till tonight to find out the meaning of the dream. Shri Nityananda Ram ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki jai. Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. Go Premanande.